Star Wars 7x7 episode 2858. Happy May 1st to you. This is going to be a huge month in the world of Star Wars. So let's talk about the stuff that we already know and where we're going to find out much more. Punch it. Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod, and this is Star Wars 7x7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy. And thank you so much for joining me for it. So May is going to be a huge month in Star Wars news, and as we do with all of these monthly updates, we're going to cover 12 different categories that relate to Star Wars storytelling. Here we go as I try to recite them all in one shot. So it's movies, live action series, animation, books, audiobooks, short stories, comics, video games, virtual reality, experiential stuff, merchandise, and streaming. Yeah, that's 12 categories. Holy cow, I got it all in one shot. So let's start off by talking about movies and where we're at with Rogue Squadron and its potential development. Now, I'm recording this a little bit early, so I gotta give you the caveat that if there is breaking news about Rogue Squadron that happens between, say, April 20th and April 30th, then it's not gonna be covered in what I'm about to tell you. So what I'm about to tell you basically has to do with The Force Awakens, because we've been talking about where they were in the production of The Force Awakens and using that as a template to compare to where we are potentially with Rogue Squadron, assuming that it's still going to come out in December 2023. So, principal photography for The Force Awakens began on May 17th of 2014, which means that the, analogy would be May 17th of this year, just, a few short days from now, that they would possibly be starting the filming for Rogue Squadron. As we've talked about previously on the show, maybe there's a question of whether they are going to do something at Star Wars Celebration about Rogue Squadron, and if so, would they need to delay principal photography to make sure that they could have representatives of Rogue Squadron at Celebration to do it, or would they just do something and it would all be virtual, where people would be from location or from Pinewood Studios and piped in for conversations, that sort of thing? Hard to say for sure, but one thing we do know is that it started May 17th for The Force Awakens. They were filming on location in Abu Dhabi, so they filmed the Jakku village scene, they filmed the TIE fighter crash scenes, they filmed Rey outside of her AT-AT and discovering BB-8, so that stuff got filmed while they were there. And then they headed back to Pinewood Studios at the very end of the month to start some of their on-set filming. On the live action series front, well, here we go. We have the Kenobi series debuting this month with 2 episodes on Friday, May 27th. So that is enormous news. Maybe we'll find out a release date for the Andor series during Star Wars Celebration. Wouldn't that be spectacular? And we know there's going to be a panel about the live action series, including Kenobi and Andor and Mandalorian Season 3, but there's also going to be a Mando specific panel at Celebration, so we'll learn more about Season 3 of The Mandalorian there as well. Meanwhile, the Ahsoka series is supposed to be filming right now, and we really don't know anything about what's going on with the Acolyte series. Those are the only other ones that we know of that are in active stages of production right now. Beyond that, maybe we'll learn more at Star Wars Celebration. You're probably going to hear that a time or two during this podcast. So we'll move on to animation, and here we go again. Star Wars Celebration is going to have a panel on Sunday about The Bad Batch. So yeah, D. Bradley Baker and Michelle Ong and Jennifer Corbett and Brad Rao are going to be there, and who knows, maybe more folks will show up for that too, but hopefully we'll find out about a release date for Season 2 of The Bad Batch, and hey, maybe an episode preview while we're there. That would be cool too. Meanwhile, on the book front, there's Brotherhood, the novel by Mike Chen. It's an Obi-Wan and Anakin story. I guess you can kind of think of it as sort of a journey to the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, if you will. So that's coming out on May 10th, and from the comments that have been popping up online from folks who've been reading their review copies. This is really, really good stuff apparently, and highly anticipated. I have my own review copy that I still need to dive into, and I'm very much looking forward to doing so. There's also going to be an audiobook version of it, so we'll jump ahead to the audiobook thing. Jonathan Davis is going to be the narrator for that, who seems to be tasked with prequel era stuff, because the last one, as far as I know, that he did was Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray, which was a Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan thing. Then there are a couple other cool little books that are going to be coming out. So similar to the I Love You, I Know book by Amy Rickow from DK Publishing that came out last year, I think it was, there's going to be an I Am Your Father one, which is about, parenting lessons, mentorship lessons and whatnot, and it's co-written by Amy Rickow and Dan Zare, which is very cool. There's also going to be a Jedi Expert book, which is like nearly 300 pages long, and a mini book of lightsabers book that's like 300 pages long, so some pretty interesting stuff coming out in the month of May. On the short story front, I don't think we're getting anything in the month of May. Star Wars Insider Magazine's next issue number 211, isn't supposed to hit newsstands until June, so unless it gets out to subscribers in late May, maybe that'll hit it, but otherwise, no, it doesn't necessarily look like it. For streaming services, as in stuff that's going straight to Disney Plus, we have May the 4th, of course, this month in just a couple of days, and in previous years they have put a little Star Wars stuff on Disney Plus, surprise stuff on May the 4th, so it would be nice to see that happen. I don't think they'll want to do anything too big to distract from the finale of Moon Knight that's happening on that day, but yeah, they'll probably put something up there, I would imagine. On the comic front, it's actually going to be kind of a slow month, all things considered. There's only, I think, 5 new issues that are coming out. There's a new flagship title, Star Wars. There's a new Dr. Aphra. There's another episode of the Halcyon Legacy miniseries. There's another issue of the Han Solo and Chewbacca miniseries. And then, probably the biggest noteworthy thing is Obi-Wan issue 1. So there's a limited series coming out again as a tie-in to the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, a journey, if you will. And that first issue comes out this month as well. So that's 8 categories right there. Leaves us with 4, which include merchandise, video games, virtual reality, and experiential stuff, as in live events and things that you can actually go to do in the real world. So I feel like we can all wrap this up by saying 3 words, which are Star Wars Celebration. That anything related to merchandise or video games or virtual reality at this point is probably being held for Star Wars Celebration, particularly with video games and virtual reality stuff. Like, we haven't heard anything about what is going to be coming next to the Oculus, that particular partnership with Oculus and ILM Lab, right? Like, we still don't know anything about what's coming next, and there's bound to be something coming next. So it's just a matter of what it's going to be. And now that we're into May, seems like Celebration is the place where we're going to find out about it. Same thing with video games, especially now that we know that there's going to be a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order. That was one of the big hits of Celebration Chicago when they had a panel about it back in 2019. So it'd be great to find out what's going on with that. And of course, there are other Star Wars games in development too. So one would imagine that there would be some kind of update on those games and where they are, and some little hints of something at Celebration. As for the merchandise, well, Celebration is, of course, a haven for merchandise. But another reason why I think this could be a big, merchandise month in terms of storytelling is because of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So they are bound to be releasing new action figures, for example, related to the Kenobi series. And as we've talked about many times on the podcast, they usually have character descriptions accompanying these action figure releases, and we do occasionally learn new things from time to time about these characters thanks to these merchandising releases. So I think you can expect a bunch of that stuff to be dropping this month thanks to the Obi-Wan Kenobi series and thanks to Star Wars Celebration. So as we get closer to Celebration, we're going to continue to document what is new and developing with the panel schedule and the things that are going to be featured there. We're bound to get more panels on publishing and also on the High Republic in specific, and what's going to happen with phase 2 of that. And as of this recording, they still haven't told us what that flagship panel is going to be, that Keystone panel on the Friday of Celebration. It seems like it ought to be movie related. That would be a great thing to put in there. But as of this recording, we don't know when that is yet. So again, if it happens between, say, the 20th and 30th, then I'm going to have to catch you up pretty soon right after this episode. But for now, that pretty much covers what we know and can expect about Star Wars storytelling in the month of May 2022. As news breaks, of course, we will be talking about it here on Star Wars 7x7, and I cannot wait to talk about all the exciting developments that we're going to learn this month with you. So there you go. That's what I've got for you for today's episode of the podcast, and it just remains for me to say thank you so much for joining me for it as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2021 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.